Super League round 20 then. Let's get straight into the results. First one was the Hull derby on Thursday night. Hull FC 20, Hull KR 34. How did you see that game went? And Hull FC started pretty well.
Yeah, I felt the would. When they get to 12 now, I think if Hull KR play anybody, well, not anybody but Hull FC, but anybody but the lower end teams, then they lose that game. When they went down 12-0 at Warrington the week before, they lost comfortably.
Yeah.
They lost against Wakefield when they went down to a score. So, yeah, I felt Hull KR played a team that don't know and have got no idea how they're winning big games or how they're winning games at the minute. They look like a bit of a broken group. So Hull KR get away with one without Lewis, who's got to be better off the field and on the field.
Yeah,
in terms of, he can't be doing what he did at Warrington and letting his team down for 4 games. It'd be interesting that the next 3 for Hull KR if they don't get results and they fall out the 6 as they did the week before against Warrington. Yeah. So,
I mean, it was 12-all at half time. Even at that moment, in your opinion, did you see the game could still go either way, or did you feel that Hull KR were going to get the result?
No, I think even at 12-0 after 25 minutes, I felt Hull KR would get the result.
Yeah.
Hull just looked like a team that are waiting for the end of the season, and I'm not saying they don't go on there and try hard. I just think there's a real lack of quality. In terms of even some of the basic skills, and I feel they take shortcuts as a group. Offside at 10 meters. Lazy high shots, stripping the ball 1-on-1 when it's 2-on-1 and, trying to get away with stuff. I think it lends to that the club's been on easy street for too long. They look unfit. They just look like they're a group waiting for 2027, and I think I get away with one. So
no, I agree.
It's difficult. It's hard for me because I want nothing more than both Hull clubs to be brilliant. And I spent 10 years at Hull FC. They're probably the biggest club I'm affiliated with, and I want nothing more. I think the coaching staff are on a hard into nothing. I think some of the players that are there know they're not going to be there. And when you look at the Tyson Smoothie situation, he's trying his nuts off to be as good as he can be, and I don't think everybody at that club's pulling the weight. So
no.
It's a disappointment for Hull FC. Another poor season. Their biggest games this weekend against Huddersfield for the Wooden Spoon. They need a result this weekend at home against Huddersfield.
That's going to be.
If they lose it, then they're in real trouble of finishing bottom of the table.
That's a massive game for the wrong reasons. But from a Hull KR point of view, they were missing a number of players as well. They were missing some big players. Obviously, Mikey Lewis being the main one. Puts them back into the top 6 positions. Obviously, after Saints dropped out, we'll come into that. But do you see that they could possibly push on now with the fixtures that are remaining? Do you think Hull KR could make a late push for the top 2 spots, or do you think they're out of that?
I don't think they'll make the 2. I think they can finish in 3rd or 4th. But they're not playing the way they're playing. I think when you let teams get out to a start and you don't start the game well, I think there's too many moving parts in Mikey Lewis not playing for the next 3 weeks. I think they might get away with it, but when you consider somebody had to go in at dummy half to get past the ball to Jez Litton on last play to kick the ball, that's too many moving parts for me in a team, and it should serve as a real wake-up call to Mikey Lewis that the team desperately need him on the field, and you can't afford to let your teammates down and miss games for a month of rugby league through stupidity. The second half, again, they had to fix what they were doing in the first half. I think Carl Lawton went to dummy half. Jez Litton played on the ball a bit more. There was lots and lots of little moving parts. Artemog didn't particularly look comfortable as a halfback. I know he scores that try late on, but it's a dive over.
He looked like he was forcing the pass, didn't he? Like he felt like Arthur felt like I've got to get this. I've got to make it stick in a way, and over trying.
Make sure his team win the game. It's like trying to do too much because you're missing a big player, and there was enough worry there for me to make sure that that Willie Peters has got a job on to make sure that they're more cohesive in the next 3 games without Mikey Lewis. and hopefully it's the kick up the backside he needs to make sure that he doesn't do something as stupid as he did the previous weekend before.
I seen something as well I think it was yesterday or this morning, that Ryan Hampshire could potentially start in the halves. What would you make with that? Because that obviously means that Arthur Morg is moved out now, or did he pick up an injury?
I think Arthur Morg's broken his thumb. I think he's broken his thumb, so he's out.
He picked up an injury, so they've had to look at other options.
So they're playing Ryan Hampshire. They've also got young Jack Charles in the reserves who might get an opportunity. But again, I think when Ryan plays, it'll change the way they play a little bit. I think Ryan will sit on a short side and Broadbent and May will be on the ball as fullback, and rather than Lewis on the ball as a half. So and as I said, it changes the way Hull KR play without Mikey Lewis.
I mentioned for Jack Broadbent as well. I thought he played well. Jack Broadbent had a good game.
Well, they may well play Jez Litton as a 7 and play Carl Lawton as a 9. So they've got some options. I'm not sure which way he'll go. You're saying Ryan Hampshire in the halves. He might well go back to where Jez Litton was brilliant the season before in the halves and try and get away with it for 3 weeks. But ultimately, they need Lewis back on the field.
Yeah, they do. There was 2 games on the Friday night. The first one we'll go into is Wakefield Trinity 52, Castleford Tigers 14, and Wakefield played a chunk of the game with a man down. Matty Staunton got sent off. 9 tries to 2 in the end. A massive golfing class on that night, which it makes you wonder, where did Castleford get that performance from last week against Leeds Rhinos, and where's it gone?
The only consistency of Castleford is their inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And that's not even within week to week now. It's game to game, isn't it? Within half to half. Woeful second half. Wakefield put them to the sword with just 12 players. You would think that in such a big game and a derby game for Castleford, that when the team go down to 12 men, the opposition go down to 12 men, that they'll be able to find something. But Wakefield just blew them away second half, and alarming. But again, Wakefield's credentials and their character is undoubted. When you look at what happened to them in the game, and they still come out firing and win by 9 tries to 2.
Yeah,
everything's okay for Darryl Powell. For Ryan Carr, again, I think it's 2027. I hate to say it, but I think their season's done in terms of making any top 6 playoffs, and they'll be looking to 27.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? Because I think Castleford have already announced something like 6-7 signings, maybe more. A few NRL-based players. He's going to have a lot more, it seems, to work with next season. So yeah, it's looking, like you say, 2027 for them. The other game on Friday night was Wigan Warriors 38, Saints 16. It was a bittersweet one for Saints fans. They started well. Jack Wellesby looked like he's gaining form back again, but another 3 players lost to injury. George Delaney, Jed Cartwright, the new loan signing from Hull, and Matty Evans, young lad. 3 more added to the injury list, which would now make 19 first-team players.
Yeah.
I would imagine they'll get a couple back this week, but I just think at that stage of the second half, you're missing 19 players. No matter how good of a coach you've got or how good of a club you are, you're going to have issues. You're going to lose games with that many players missing.
Well, that's adding on to the fact that they look a fractured group as it is. I watched the game the other week and I saw Jackson Hastings and Jake Shorrocks. And Jake Shorrocks throws a pass he probably shouldn't. And Jackson Hastings looks at him as if to say, "What are you playing at, son?" There just seems some disharmony amongst the players in the playing group. There's been a fracture amongst the coaching staff and playing group in terms of Rowley leaving. So, I just don't see that club can be galvanised enough with the players they've got out and the fractures that are already in the club and group that they can make the 6. So,
no, I
what I will say is I thought Wigan did a decent job of not letting the outside noise of St Helens affect them too much. I thought the Saints tried really hard, but the quality that Wigan have within the ranks was always going to prove too much in the end, and did so. Particularly the Bevan French, scores and has a hand in 4 more. It'd be nice if Wigan can keep him on the field towards the end of the season, because without doubt that he's one of the competition's best players.
Yeah, and like you say, with Bevan French, a try and 4 try assists, and they take him off after 60 minutes. That is the ultimate, I can't swear on the podcast, but you know what I mean. It's the ultimate FU towards Saints. Like, we're going to rest our best player. And the other two players I have to give a mention to is Ollie Partington. Thought he was sensational, and Adam Kieran. As every week, he's that type of player that it gives you an 8, 9, 10 out of 10 every week, but it becomes expected, so people don't talk about him. And
I think he's been a phenomenal signing from Catalan.
He has.
He kicks goals as well, which is important.
He does.
4 to 6 and 6 to 8, or 8 to 10, 12 to 14.
And
if
you get that sense from a player, don't you, where when someone's lining up for a conversion kick, you always feel like he's going to make it no matter where it is. You always have that sense of belief, like we mentioned with Reece Martin and players like that, and Jonathan Thurston. They always had that sense of belief, like, oh, he'll kick this, and he's one of them players. I just think his defense as well for a centre, he hits you hard, and I thought he had a fantastic game. The next game was the one that you commentated on, the York Knights 22, Huddersfield Giants 24. I thought at the end the Knights was going to nick it. They got 2 tries late on, and the one that we text about was the Zach Wolford try. You say it was down, I say it wasn't.
Yeah, opinions are brilliant. Opinions are fantastic, aren't they? I felt it'd be, if he hadn't got it down, I'd have been furious if I was his coach, Jim Lenihan. I felt they were the best team over the full game.
They was the without doubt.
I think they started the game great. When Inman should probably score through the break from Cody Hunter. The tackle from Flanagan's a big one, and then the 6-6 at the break. Probably should score a try or 2 more in the first half, Huddersfield.
They should.
So, Cozza should probably score. And then they have the 1 short out for obstruction on Nico Williams. So, I felt that they deserved the game. I felt that Wolford and Harry Rushton led the way. Rushton particularly was brilliant.
I was going to say, because for Cody Hunter on the York Knights side, I think he's been a revelation for them this season. And for the Huddersfield Giants, the 2 that stood out for me was Connor Wrench. I think he's been sensational since he's come back out, from retirement. And Harry Rushton, as you said, he just carted that ball up, and he's so strong with his runs and his tackling. I felt it'd have been unjust, Dan, if York would have pinched it. I felt like the better team were Huddersfield, and I felt like the better team did in the end get the result. Yeah, agreed. Do you think on the Zach Wolford try, it's one of them where, depending on what the referee sends it up as, no try or try,
no, because I thought it was overturned. I think Tara Smith sent it up as no try.
Right. Yeah. Because I was going to say,
I felt it was down. And I felt there was enough evidence to overturn it.
Yeah.
I'd have been okay with it because it went up as a no try. It was no try, but I felt there was enough there. And again, I felt that Huddersfield were the best team and probably deserved the 2-point win. First win in 13 games, I think. And
it was,
the last time they won was against York.
Yeah, it was. And the last bit on that is your commentary again was unbelievable, sensational, and your analysis, even to the point that every time a captain's challenge went in, you'd already called it, and the commentator was, "Oh yeah, you got very good eyes, Paul."
Well, I work a lot with Mark, and I have done over the last 15 years at TalkSport, and I tend to just have a feeling, when Inman scores. Yeah. There's a feeling there that if he rolls over the top of that ball, he's lost control, and it sort of didn't look right when the ball was put down, and I felt that if the ball was left behind, it was probably no try. So I guess you just get a feel for it as a player, an ex-player, where if it don't look right, it probably isn't right.
No, agreed. Lee Leopards 28, Warrington Wolves 12. Offengawi for me was immense for the Lee Leopards. 2, I would say, I don't want to use the word controversial, but there was 2 sin binnings that I thought were harsh. Charnley and Leon Hayes. The Wolves, for me, they didn't seem to turn up, especially after getting that win against Hull KR the week prior. The Lee Leopards, though, as I've mentioned over the last few weeks, they just keep getting the results. They hit form at the right time of the year, and I think they're in with a chance. They for me are the same level as Wakefield. Either one of them could do a surprise this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that result particularly is. I felt that when they get players back, they'll be better, and they have done. The left edge is lethal. Adam Cook's playing really good football. The grounds have firmed up for him, and he looks great off the tee as well. By the way, kicking goals.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, I just feel that their forward pack, them Wakefield have got a real opportunity this year. Wakefield can probably finish in the two. I don't think Lee will and can.
No.
But certainly if they finish in third or fourth, they're gonna shock a few, and they could easily go away to a Wakefield or a Leeds or a Wigan and get a result.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they could.
I feel that Lee are on the right track.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board for Warrington. They're very, very good at home, but find it a little bit more difficult away from home, it seems.
Yeah, they
that
do.
may be the next big thing for them to win a big game away from home. I know they go to Hull KR on a Tuesday night towards the end of August, so that'll be an interesting game, middle of August. So we look forward to that.
Before we move on to the next game, how do you rate Sam Burge's tenureship as the head coach at Warrington so far? Do you think it's been a success or not?
I think they're very much more difficult to beat, Dan. I think you've seen in previous years where Warrington can spiral and concede lots of points. I think they're more difficult to beat.
Yeah.
I think they're certainly a more difficult team to beat at home. He's blooded some youngsters there, which will stand them in good stead in the future. There's not the thing with Warrington is it's been that long since they've won the major one, the Super League trophy, or even the league trophy, as it was back then. That's how long ago it is since they've won anything in terms of the league. Is the pressure's always on, and rightfully so. I mean, I spoke with Carl Fitzpatrick on a podcast a few weeks ago, or a couple of months ago. When you're talking about it being Warrington's year, the expectation's big, and that can only be a good thing. So there's certainly pressure comes with that job. He's still a relatively young coach in terms of his head coach tenure, Sam, and he's doing a good job for me. But the pressure on him is to win something.
The way I look at the Warrington job is how I look at the England football coach job. You want that big prize, and that's an expectancy, and rightly so. As you walk in through the door, and it's all on that, and it's always the same where. It has since I've been watching rugby, where you get so close and then they have a massive reset, rebuild. They get themselves close again, and then it falls off again. And I feel for him a bit because, like you said, it's been a long time. Like anyone who's my generation or below has never seen them lift a big one, and I can't see him over the next couple of years doing that. And obviously the biggest one is who we've already spoken about, the star at the moment, or the emerging star, is UNO, and they're going to have to try and keep hold of him, because if they're going to want to win the big one, he's going to have to be a big part of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It'll be interesting what happens with UNO and whether his head is turned to the Southern Hemisphere in the NRL. But certainly you don't want to wish our stars away either.
No,
so,
you don't.
I want to see him live as much as I can as a pundit and summariser on games.
Because
for many years to come.
On a positive note for Wire fans, Brodie Croft is an incredible signing.
Yeah.
So I think that could work as a very well as a 6 and 7 Irwin and Croft next season. It's just what happens around them. But yeah, we wait and see how they go. The evening game on Saturday was Toulouse 16, Catalan Dragons 18. Obviously, we touched on it earlier. Ollie Ashall injured. Tommy Makinson got 2 tries for the Dragons, and for me, the man of the match was Aspiro Bichet. I think he's an incredible player. How good do you think he can become? What do you think he can achieve in the game, Aspiro Bichet?
Yeah, he's certainly the next best French player that we've seen come through the ranks, particularly in a key position. I think the last one was Theo Fags, I believe. I would have said, or Tony Guijo, maybe. So we wait and see. I think the consistency element of Catalan now. They were poor at Saints the week before and got beaten. 3 weeks ago, they conceded 60+ points to the Toulouse team, I think. So
yeah, because we both thought that Toulouse, with the form they've been in, would potentially go on and win this game, and it obviously didn't unfold like that. The condition, I don't know if you watched it live, but the conditions were horrendous. So
I think that leveled it a bit as well, Dan. I think that probably leveled it a little bit. It gives the Catalan big forwards and big people that they have in their team, a chance to not be beaten with footwork and such like. So, a big result for Catalan. Can they back it up this weekend? Is the big question for me.
Yeah.
It's okay doing it at home one week. Oh, sorry, they were away from home last week, but doing it in France one week, you've got to travel to England and get the job done as well.
And a big shout out for Tommy Makinson, another 2 tries. I think he's had a sensational career. Obviously, his big chunk of play has been at the Saints, but he's still scoring tries in the Super League. And a big shout out for his new blonde tips as well. Obviously, didn't look too good in the rain, did it? But he's still going well, and like I said, it's a massive win for Catalans. It's obviously there. That's going to be their new rival. Is their new rivalry, isn't it? Who's the best French club, and they got over the top of them. The final game was Sunday afternoon. Leeds Rhinos 42, the Bradford Bulls 12. Leeds Rhinos back to their best, back to winning ways. Michael Sevo injured, as we touched earlier. Jake Connor's form and his kick that we're going to speak about. James McDonnell, 2 tries, my man of the match. He's obviously moving on to the Perth Bears. I thought he was sensational. But that kick from Jake Connor, which you labelled it as a 15-8, which is more than likely, it was that good and that massive of an achievement that the NRL retweeted it online because it obviously went global. It's definitely the biggest kick I've ever seen. He just got a hold of it.
It's not just that for me, Dan. It's in the context of the game.
Yeah, how close it was.
Ryan just scores, and the 6 points up Leeds, and then the penned in their own 20, and on play 3 or 4, he ends up the audacity to try and then pull it off. I don't care how much wind's behind him. It's 2 or 3 bounces and into.
You've still got to do the execution, haven't you?
Yeah, and you've got players rushing you. It's off a slow play the ball. It's the best kick I've seen. A best 40-20 kick or 20-40 kick, whatever you want to call it. It's the best kick I've seen under that pressure. I beg anybody to go out there and try and do that and pull it off. A real big moment in the game, and then they score 2 or 3 off the back of it and pull away. One thing I will say is they won't win games with that completion rate and the way they played at the weekend. Although they score 40+ points, they won't beat teams in and around them on the league table with a completion rate of 60% plus.
No,
you've got to go above 70 or even 80% in big games, and there's some lessons in that for Leeds. But again, they get the job done and they stay top of the table.
So in terms of Bradford Bulls, then, Paul, do you think there's any panic or alertness that should set in, or do you think Bradford Bulls are exactly where you expected them to be?
I don't think there should be any panic. I think the only panic is trying to get a team on the field for Kurt Haggerty. I think he said he might have to go into the loan market for the first time this year to bring somebody in because of the injuries that are within the club. I know they got a couple more at the weekend. So I think they are where you expect them to be. They've won some games, they've lost some games. There was always going to be difficult to beat at Odsal, which has proven to be the case. I don't think they've been blown away at Odsal at any stage of the season, and I don't think they will be for the remainder of it. So I wouldn't panic. I think that they're going to make some more shrewd signings and improve their squad throughout the pre-season and be ready for 27. But I think Kurt Haggerty's done a fantastic job.
Couldn't agree more. I think he's a fantastic manager, Kurt is. That wraps it up then for the round 20 results and analysis. In closing, Paul, give me your tips for who wins the NRL and who wins the Super League this year.
Oh, jeez, you put me on the spot. I can't see past Wigan. I think the last time I backed against them was at Wembley, and look how that turned out for me. I think Wigan will be the team to beat when they're getting players back at the right time. In the NRL, Penrith, if Penrith get it right, I think the Roosters are a chance. I think if probably the Roosters. I think the Roosters might get it. They're now in the top 2 and playing some decent stuff. They're winning some tough games. So, yeah, I'll go with the Roosters this year.
Yeah, I'm going to go slightly different to close it out. I'm going to, as much as I think Wigan are incredible, I've just got this feeling Leeds Rhinos are just going to kick in and they're going to do it. I just get that sense purely from the fact that 3, 4, 5 of the players are leaving, so it's not going to be the same group next year. And I feel like that belief gives you that extra gear to get something great done. I think the Leeds Rhinos will get it over the line this year. And I'm also going to go different in the NRL. I'm going to back the New Zealand Warriors. I just feel if they can find a bit more of the form, I know it was a bad result against the Dogs this week, but I think it's so important to get that second spot on the ladder, and I think they will do, to get that home final in the first week, and then I think they'll go on all the way. My picks are Leeds Rhinos and New Zealand Warriors. I like an underdog story. So we'll see how it goes. But it's been a pleasure having you on again, Paul.
Always.
And hopefully, if you're available next week, we'll go again.
We'll be.
So thank you for joining me, Paul.
Cheers, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Your support means everything to us. So see you in the next one. Thank you.